But we're going to start with that early kickoff, Cass, where we mentioned it already. Manchester City's crisis intensified as they slipped to another damaging defeat at Aston Villa. John Duran and Morgan Rogers' goals meant that Phil Foden's late reply for the visitors was little consolation. Defending champion City have dropped to 6th now in the Premier League, 9 points behind the leaders Liverpool, having played 2 games more, while Villa have moved above them now into 5th. It is now 9 defeats in 12 in all competitions for City, who are winless in their last 8 away matches. After the match, Pep Guardiola spoke to talkSPORT's Adam Bridge about suffering yet another defeat.
The defeat that we have in that situation, this is the click. Okay, we deal with that, we talk on that. It's a little lot of details that one team were consistent for many years. They were able to find always the way to do it, and for different reasons, not particularly one. I said again, it will be easy. If the particular one is just a manager, it will be easy. If the particular is 2 or 3 players, it will be easy. It's not about that. It's always I insist. It's about all of us, that our best, and the situation is difficult because we don't have, when we won triples and quadruples and all the records that we broke in this country, it's because we were 90% of the squad ready, because otherwise you cannot compete in all competitions. We won 4 Carabaos in a row because you have all the players available to do that. And in that moment, I'm not saying that is the reason why. It's one of this a lot I'm saying, but the reality, we are not winning games, we are losing games, and before we were able to do it, and I have to find a way, I'm not able to do it.
It's the kind of run that you're not used to as a manager, and we've not seen at Manchester City in recent years. Is there a point when you think, I've had enough, I want to walk away, or is the motivation to get it right what challenges you and gets you up every day? No,
motivation is when you win a lot of games. That is where motivation comes from. But I have to stay here. Of course, I have to stand and still stand and Everton. And I Everton and go for it.
But finally, Christmas is around the corner. If the footballing Father Christmas could bring you one gift on Christmas Day this year, what would that be?
Healthy for everyone. Decent job, to have a good salary, to have heater at home, good food, and some pleasure to go, for the families and the loved ones. This is one. Stop the wars and peace around the world. And at the end, the people want, have the job and have the loved ones close and live what you want to do. At the end, when we won it was a game, and now it's just a game. That we want to do our best. Now it's not happening. We are a little bit down for that, for our fans, but it's life, it's football. So that is not as much that other things.
How lovely. That's very nice by Pep Guardiola there.
Yes.
At the end. But my goodness, he will once again be scratching his head, Cass, as to how on earth he can fix what is going wrong with his side. They just seem to be stuck in this rut right now. And we'll give credit to Aston Villa in a moment. But of course, naturally, the story is Manchester City and the fact now it's just 1 win in 12 for them in all competitions.
Yeah, very obvious from the first 2 or 3 minutes. Yeah. It's going to be a hard day at the office. Suffering corners straight away.
Villa had two great chances.
Yeah, 2 great chances,
and
literally in the first few minutes of the game. This brilliantly designed team that had a pattern of play that was so robotic at times, and no one knew how to deal with it. Or Liverpool sort of matched it for a season, and then even still come second best when they achieved a huge amount of points, Liverpool. And this team would still dominate in their patterns of play. And now they've malfunctioned. The computer's gone completely ballistic. It's blown up. It's unbelievable watching what I'm watching here. And Villa deserve credit, but they knew how to beat them. They knew what they had to do. I've written down players who are not playing well and not doing the right things. I wrote down Bernardo Silva. The amount of times he's getting trapped in little pockets where he used to get out of, he's not. Phil Foden, well, we talked about him yesterday. Haaland, hardly any service at all, non-existent, and he's talking about he's to blame as well. Well, yeah, you can put in a little bit more effort, but actually you're not getting anything to really feed off anyway. Guardiola, fullback, come centre half, all over the place.
All over the place.
It's just not the same player. No. It's unreal to watch him in a year. And then there's others who are not playing well or coming off injured. The best 2 players for City yesterday were Ortega in goal. Okay. I thought he played okay. And I thought Jack Grealish had a real go, had a bit of a spite in his game.
Agree.
The rest of them totally second best, and Villa knew exactly what they had to do, and it was intensity, pressure, and misplaced passes were happening all the time.
That's exactly what I was about to say. There felt like there was no cohesion whatsoever with the City team. Like you say, misplaced passes. You know, you had Jack Grealish trying to make runs down the left, but then there was no one to pass it to, or no. It was just like I say, the one way I thought about it was there's just no cohesion. There's nothing going on with this team. They don't know what they're doing currently. And one of the things I think that summed up Guardiola's performance yesterday as well was that second goal. I don't know if you remember it, when the ball came from, I mean, Morgan Rogers obviously scores the goal, but he's the one that makes the drive through midfield. He passes the ball out to John McGinn, and you see Guardiola in two minds. Do I go for it or not? He steps forward to try and intercept, but then pulls himself out of that moment, which gives McGinn the chance. And I just thought, what are you doing? And then at that point, the defence are all just ball watching. They're playing what, you know, when you see kids football, all the kids run towards the ball. That's what it looked like at one stage. There was no like structure to them whatsoever. And Aston Villa thoroughly deserved that victory, who themselves obviously had come into it off the back of a defeat to Nottingham Forest. But they played as a team, which was very different to Manchester City.
Yeah, they did. Kamara in midfield with Onana. You know, you look at them, Tielemans. You know, they had a very well-structured design of their team, and they knew if they broke quickly, City were going to be all over the place. And that, for me, was also basic, because Villa knew with Duran up front, they've got pace. You know, they can get in behind. Yeah. They could have done that with Ollie Watkins as well. You know, Ollie Watkins can do the similar thing when he gets into the channels. They were easily beaten yesterday.
Yeah. And
that was shocking. Watching a team that everybody feared, everybody tried to change tactics to play against them, or at best, you know, 90% of teams would be so wary of the way City played. Now, teams are going after them. It's out on the street. They have gone, completely gone.
Well, if you look at their next 6 fixtures, which includes their FA Cup tie with Salford in January, they might look at it and think, well, this is a chance for us to turn the tide, because they are essentially winnable. The problem is that this team can't win currently, but this is what they've got coming up. Boxing Day, they've got Everton at home. Then they face Leicester away before the end of the year. It's West Ham at home at the beginning of January, followed by the FA Cup tie, like I've mentioned. Then they make the trip to Brentford, and then a trip to Ipswich as well. So on paper, those are games that surely they're going to turn things around in those matches.
Yeah, I definitely think they'll win a number of them games. Yes, I'd be amazed if it continues to what I witnessed yesterday, because, yeah, they've lost in certain games and they've been in good positions in a couple of them, but it's still a massive shortfall. They are totally out there. You know, this is no rocket science here. They're totally out of the title race. You know, there's no way they're not going to get beat again 2 or 3 times before the end of the season.
And I tell you why it's important that they turn the tide in those fixtures, because after that, when you're heading towards late January, you've got Chelsea to come. This is just in the Premier League. Chelsea to come, followed by Arsenal away, Newcastle at home, Liverpool at home, Tottenham away, Forest away, and Brighton at home. Yeah. I mean, then it becomes tricky. And I know you're saying they're already out of the title race, but if they're in the hunt for top 4... They've got to pick up points now to ensure that they're going into those really difficult games in with a chance of top 4 still.
Yeah. We talk about, I've listened to loads of different shows. We're all saying we cannot believe what we've witnessed. No. I can't. If you had said to me 2 months ago, City are going to win 1 in 12 and they're going to be literally at the bottom of the league form, I'd have said this is not possible. They could have a dip and maybe lose 1 or 2. Then they didn't look like early on in the season the Man City of last season, that's for sure. And within a short space of time, I've been in a team. And it's nowhere near to the same level, but I was in a Republic of Ireland team that lost its legs. And we've chatted with people like Aldridge, Ray Houghton, Andy Townsend, Paul McGrath, Kevin Moran, myself. You know, a number of us legs were going in a team, and it happened quite quickly. Because people say to me about playing for the Republic of Ireland, I say we had a great team in '88, 90. 94 was slightly on the decline. By 96, there was a big difference because Jack was still very loyal to a lot of players.
Right.
And so I was, but that was quite over a space of a long time. We still qualified for tournaments. Their demise has been like overnight.
Rapid, yeah.
Absolutely, so many of them out of form and out of sorts and unrecognisable.
Yeah. Listen, it's a subject that's going to be talked about long into the weekend and beyond as well, because it's just, we're all baffled, absolutely baffled by what is going on. But credit to Aston Villa. Big win for them to move them into 5th spot, then above Manchester City, and they are 3 points off the top 4 as a result of that victory.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.